Baik, kami silakan kepada seluruh peserta untuk bisa duduk.
Recording in progress.
Karena acara akan segera kita mulai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan selamat datang di Trans Convention Center Tanjung Pinang dalam rangkaian acara Second Maritime Continent Fulcrum International Conference atau MACIFIC tahun 2022 yang dilaksanakan oleh Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji. Boleh kita berikan applause yang meriah?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Trans Convention Center, Tanjung Pinang, the Second Maritime Continent Fulcrum International Conference 2022, organized by Raja Ali Haji Maritime University.
Good morning, Mr. Professor Thomas Boving. Selamat pagi juga kepada Bapak Ibu narasumber pagi hari ini dan juga selamat pagi kepada seluruh hadirin yang telah hadir di Trans Convention Center Tanjung Pinang pagi hari ini dalam rangkaian acara Second Maritime Continent Fulcrum International Conference MACIFIC 2022. Kita langsung akan mendengarkan sesi paralel dan pagi hari ini ada dua orang narasumber yang akan membahas tema Center of Restoration Basin Environment from Japan. Kemudian kedua narasumber akan membahas Conservation Strategy Fund Indonesia. Dan di sesi kali ini seperti biasa akan dimoderatori oleh seorang narasumber dari Fakultas Ilmu Kelautan dan Perikanan Universitas Hasanuddin Makassar. Beliau seorang dosen, kita sambut. Inilah Dr. Jamaluddin Fitrah Alam. Kita berikan aplaus yang meriah.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue this event to parallel session 2 with the invited speaker. They are from Center of Restoration Basin Environment, Japan, and from Conservation Strategy Fund Indonesia. And this session will be moderated by Mr. Dr. Jamaluddin Fitrah Alam. He is from Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences from Hasanuddin University. Time and place is yours.
Okay, please allow me to remove the mask. Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jamaluddin Fitrah Alam, and it is my pleasure to be your moderator for this morning session. So, in this morning session of MACIFIC 2022, we are delighted to have two remarkable speakers. So, the first one, have introduced by the Master of Ceremony, is Professor Tamiji Yamamoto from Hiroshima University, Japan. And the second one, we have Dr. Mubarik Ahmad from Conservation Strategy Fund Indonesia. So I see both of our speakers have already joined us in this room today. So I kindly invite both of our speakers to join me on stage. Please, Professor Yamamoto and Dr. Mubarik. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for our two speakers today. Okay, please, Professor Yamamoto and Dr. Mubarik, please have a seat. Okay, so good morning, Professor Yamamoto. How are you doing? Very good. Okay, Dr. Ahmad, good morning. Okay, good. Before we start the first session by Professor Yamamoto, I would like to kindly read his short biography. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tamiji Yamamoto is a professor emeritus of Hiroshima University, Japan. And now, Professor Yamamoto is the CTO of his consulting company. His expertise is dynamical modeling of biological and chemical processes in aquatic ecosystems, from freshwater reservoir to coastal seas. Previously, Professor Yamamoto was awarded the Oceanographic Society of Japan Award, the Japanese Society of Fisheries Oceanography Award, and the Japanese Society of Fisheries Science Award. He also has received the Commendation for Science and Technology by the MACS and the Hiroshima University President's Award. Professor Yamamoto is also an invited researcher at the University of British Columbia and Dalhousie University in Canada, Cotton Institute in New Zealand, and WIU, United Kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, I think now is the time to have the presentation for Professor Yamamoto. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Tamiji Yamamoto from Hiroshima University.
Good morning. Thank you very much for introducing me. So first of all, I have to say thanks to all of the members of the organizing committee of this conference for inviting me. So I'm very honored to be here. I actually last night, I enjoyed a very nice dinner with Agun. So special thanks is to Agun, the president of this university, and also Wahyu, sitting there, is my previous student. Thank you for inviting me. So my topics today, may I remove mask? My topic is, here you can see, fertilizer development and application for oyster growth. So you can see in the background photograph, which shows the oyster culture raft made of bamboo. Okay, sorry. So I'd like to go the first page of my presentation. You can see the location of our study area. Left one shows the Seto Inland Sea, which is located in the western part of Japan, surrounded by land, which have an area of 23,000 kilometers. And right figure shows the Hiroshima Bay, which has about 1,000 kilometers. And you can see the lines, area surrounded by lines, which indicate the location of the oyster culture is allowed for fishermen. So actually, they have 10,000 rafts in total, very huge number. So the big concern, our concern is the decrease of fishery production in this area. Upper left shows the fishery production in the total entire Seto Inland Sea. And the bottom is oyster production in our area, Hiroshima Bay. And also the right one shows the asari. Asari means the bivalves, short-necked crab, probably in English. Production is also decreasing very sharply. So some researcher, 20 years ago, they proposed the major cause was landfill. So landfill, you know, they very effective to remove, reduce the area where asari are residing. But the fishery production in entire Seto Inland Sea and oyster production is different. As you may know, the oyster is cultured hanging method. So landfill doesn't affect. So as you can see here, I draw the green line. The timing of decrease is the same, almost the same. So the phenomena is occurred in the total area. So I propose my paper. I propose the oligotrophication, maybe the major cause of the decrease. So this is actually my paper describing the cultural oligotrophication. So you may be very familiar to the term eutrophication, but oligotrophication probably not so familiar to you. So oligotrophication is actually the opposite phenomena of eutrophication. And culture means the man-made artificial decrease of the nutrients to the area is a cause of oligotrophication. As you can see here, total phosphorus in the upper panel, and the bottom is the total nitrogen concentration in the seawater in the Seto Inland Sea. So the central government started to decrease nutrients, I mean nitrogen, phosphorus. They started to decrease for phosphorus first from 1978, and then they decided to decrease for nitrogen from 1995. So this time gap is actually the way of decrease is different. For the reduction of nitrogen, so we have to apply the advanced processes such as nitrification and denitrification, as you may know. So, which is used by the activity of bacteria. Okay. And as a result, the transparency increased year by year. This data shows the transparency observed in Osaka Bay, which is located in the eastern part of the Seto Inland Sea, and also the Harimanada, next to Osaka Bay. So the direct influence was on the quality of nori production. The farmer growing nori like this, nori sheet, they produce nori sheet by processing, by heating or drying or something. So the good quality nori, you can see here, the black color, which contains the much amount of amino acid, but the decrease of nutrients affect to the quality of nori. The left one shows the brown or yellowish color, which means the very bad quality. very low price. Okay, so the data shows in this left graph very, let's say, very clearly shows the effect of artificial decrease of nutrients from the land. So, as I mentioned, the decrease of phosphorus discharge started from 1978. So the oh no, sorry. The concentration of nitrogen in the seawater decreased to almost, I'm not sure, I can't see the data number of the concentration. Okay, and then they started to decrease nitrogen, and then the nitrogen concentration in the seawater decreased. Okay. So this is actually I call the artificial or cultural oligotrophication. And several times I proposed my opinion to the newspaper and TV. This newspaper shows the latest one, but I probably give them the opinion several times, 10 times or more. So the division, finally the Ministry of Environment decided to revise the law. The name of the law is Law Concerning Special Measure for Conservation of, you can see, environment of the Seto Inland Sea. Very long name. So before the reduction measure, before the revision of this law, it has two pillars, two main points, conservation of water quality and conservation of seascapes. After the revision, it becomes have 4 pillars, 4 points. The first one is the same, but they added the term here, control. Okay, so they wanted to control nutrient concentration in the sea, which include the decrease of effluent water from sewage treatment plant and also the farms. Okay, and green one shows the restoration and creation. They added 2 terms this time, so not only the conservation. So this means to the environment we have destroyed, we have to recover and even create new environment as our responsibility. The fourth one is much important, securing of sustainable use of fishery resources. This is actually actually implies a shift from recovery of water quality, only water quality, to management of total ecosystem, including marine organisms. So, but the central government asked to the local government to make plan how to manage the total ecosystem. They have to input the idea of scientific-based knowledge, and also they have to be should be practical and include a roadmap. But this task is very difficult for the staff working in each prefecture government. because they are not the researcher, not the scientist. Before the revision of the law, so the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, they try to check if the water, how water move when they increase the discharge water from the sewage treatment plant. So left to right, nitrate, nitrogen, ammonium nitrogen, and dissolved inorganic nitrogen. So as you can see, the effluent water does not affect too much to the offshore area. Only the effluent water move northwest to southeast, which means the land shoreline works as a, let's say, wall. Okay. So the problem is influence is limited to the area near shoreline. Okay. So I, not only me, but our team have been trying to develop fertilizer to increase culture, for example, oyster culture, today's topics. We supported by the some project fund. First one is supported by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. I tried to develop inorganic fertilizer first and apply to the field experiments, and then we obtained the result at about 20% weight increase both for oyster and asari. They are already published in the scientific paper. The second one is supported by the next Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports and Technology. This second stage, we developed organic fertilizer. So, and then we applied to oyster and asari again. We got the similar result. I mean, 20% increase in weight. And third one is a project supported by Higashi Hiroshima, abbreviation Higashi Hiroshima. Our city supported our project. We also applied organic fertilizer to increase the oyster production. We got finally the 35% increase in oyster meat weight. So today my talk is about the two results from the first project and the third project. This one is the result first project from first project. Inorganic fertilizer we developed first. Appearance of the fertilizer is like this. Granules contains various size. The major component is coal ash, and the other additives is ammonium sulfate, sodium phosphate, iron powder, and citric acid. Citric acid is let's say, a kind of curator to accelerate the elution of iron. The major component, coal ash, has a function as a source of nitrogen, silica, manganese, and zinc. So the main point when we try to develop this fertilizer is the elution ratio of each element. So nitrogen, phosphorus, and iron molar ratio should be this proportion. This ratio is important for the growth of phytoplankton or other algae. We call this, as you may know, the Redfield ratio. Then we try to apply this inorganic fertilizer in our area, Mitsu Bay, located next to Hiroshima Bay. Here also farmers growing oysters actively. So I used three oyster lab here, and one is no fertilizer. Second one is with 300 grams fertilizer per each net cage. And the third one is 600 grams. So we actually use a bag containing fertilizer. I attach the net, attach the bags on the bottom of the cage. In the cage, we put 20 individual each. So result here, oyster actually gain the weight, as you see here. So about 20% increase we obtained during the about 6 months experiment. And also we got the result, increase of the asari meat weight. So I applied this fertilizer in the tied-up flat, a different site of Mitsu Bay. We got a similar result, 20% increase in meat weight in average. Okay, so we applied the very simple simulation model to understand how the oyster or asari grow. So this shows the framework of the model containing the 6 compartments dissolved in inorganic phosphorus, which is supplied by fertilizer. Then this accelerates the growth of phytoplankton by taking up dissolved inorganic phosphorus. And then oyster feed on phytoplankton. And phytoplankton, some of them died and going to this box, detrital phosphorus. And also the oysters produce a feces. Feces go into detrital phosphorus, and then decompose through DOP to DIP. This a model shows the circulation of phosphorus. And the results, sorry, I didn't show the results, but only show you the sensitivity analysis because of the time limitation. So increase the number of bags containing fertilizer from 0 to 10. DIP concentration increases like this. However, as you may imagine, the number of fertilizer, if you add too much amount, in that case, the nutrient concentration in the seawater increase too much. So my recommendation is the 300 or 600 addition of fertilizer. However, this model shows almost no increase in phytoplankton abundance, phytoplankton biomass like this. And then the nutrients released from the fertilizer go into increase of oyster meat weight through phytoplankton growth. So grown phytoplankton very fed by oyster in a short time. So which resulted like this figure. Okay. So I propose for this result, the appropriate amount of fertilizer is about 600 for 20 individual oysters. But the deficit is only the deficit is a short-time efficacy, less than 1 month. So this figure shows the time variation. 22 days here, so about 1 month, the effectiveness will be lost. Okay. So at this time, I applied to calculate the disperse of the dilution that disperse of phosphate is released from fertilizer. So the case set on 3 cases. First is the no friction of hanging wire, and second is the friction of wire, and the third one is including the all biological processes. I mean the phytoplankton photosynthesis and the decomposition of organic matter by bacteria, and also the oyster production, everything in the third case. So as you see here, the middle one, temperature change in horizontal distribution, the very limited area, the released nutrients concentrated. Just here you can see almost limited in the oyster raft area. Okay. And the peak concentration decrease with the time lapse. So from first day to 19 days, peak gradually decrease. So right graph, and the right hand side is changes of nutrient concentration with the time days. So decrease like this. Okay. So the only the deficit for using the inorganic fertilizer is a short-term efficacy. So we try to develop organic fertilizer here, like this. So can you tell what is made of? Okay, this one is made of chicken drop. Okay. So collecting the chicken drops and ferment them for several weeks by adding the yeast or any other effective microorganisms. This is a very important process. And actually the volume of chicken droppings decreased almost about 1/2, okay, because of the degradation of the material. And then mixed with other ingredients, and then pressing them, and then lastly drying them for 1 month. Then produce this shape of fertilizer. Okay. So at first we try to get the results of dilution in the laboratory. So this x-axis shows the percent addition of hardener. So the not so much different, but if we don't add hardener, the nitrogen phosphorus molar ratio is very low, which means the let's say high elution of phosphate, excess elution of phosphate. So to reduce the excess elution of phosphate, we added the hardener. So hardener, which is actually the magnesium oxide, okay, which react with phosphate.
Professor Yamamoto, I would like to remind your time 3 minutes. Yes.
Okay, go forward. Yes, you can see here the longevity of the effectiveness we got the illusion continued for at least 5 months. Okay. So also the appropriate nitrogen phosphorus ratio. Okay, fertilizer was applied to experiment of the field in the field. So I got the result like this. Oyster meat weight increase. So actually we got the 35% increase in oyster weight, meat weight. The biggest one is 44.1 grams. And these are the data obtained using the probes. Okay, I have to skip this. This is also applied similar program, simulation program. Okay, skip this. Yes, these are the results. So we can get the very nice results reproducing the observed data. This is the nutrient. And this is the concentration of chlorophyll A. Observed data was shown with black dots, and the simulation result is a connected line. Okay, for each plot. The comparison of the output, you can see here, the little bit higher amount of chlorophyll concentration in experiment 20. Experiment 20, actually, we use the 20 number of 20 pieces of the fertilizer. Okay, this is the result showing the oyster meat weight, very well reproduced. Okay. Then we calculate the circulation of phosphorus in the system. So DRE concentration in experiment 20 was 3 times higher than in control. However, the phytoplankton phosphorus not so much high, 1.3 times, and also the oyster meat weight is increased 1.3 times. So the important finding here is the increase of the path from phytoplankton growth and DOT to DIP, this circulation. Okay, and of course we got the result increase of downward flux of detrital phosphorus, which is produced from the dead cell of phytoplankton and also the feces production of oyster. Okay, this is a summary. Oyster production in Hiroshima Bay area has been decreasing due to oligotrophication by the nutrient reduction measure. Although the government revised the regulation law, there is no symptom like increasing fishery production. So we applied to try to develop fertilizer. First, we made inorganic fertilizer, which is effective, but the short-term efficacy is a small one of the deficits. Second stage, we developed the organic fertilizer. Then we got a very nice result to increase oyster production. So lastly, application of organic solid fertilizer may contribute to creation of SDGs-oriented society in terms of we use a let's say byproduct like chicken drops and grow the oyster production. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Professor Tameji Yamamoto. What an interesting talk about the use of fertilizer to the oyster in Hiroshima Bay. So, Professor Yamamoto, I would like to invite you to sit again, because now we are having Dr. Mubarik Ahmad, who will present his presentation about blue economy. So, Dr. Mubarik, I will read a short CV of yours. So, Dr. Mubarik has enjoyed a 30-year career working as an economic policy researcher and professional activist in a variety of organizations including the World Bank, WWF, and Indonesian Eco-Labeling Institute. Among Mubarik's many accomplishments, he was co-writing and leading the development of Indonesia's national RED Plus strategy and the development and promotion of Heart of Borneo initiative and the Coral Triangle initiative. Mubarik holds a PhD in Natural Resources and Environmental Economics from Michigan State University and MA in Economics from Columbia University. At last, a Bachelor in Economics from University of Indonesia. Dr. Mubarik will guide CSF Indonesia Marine Conservation Economics Program and launch CSF work on forest conservation across Indonesia's globally significant natural landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Mubarik Ahmad from Conservation Strategy Fund Indonesia. Please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, adik-adik mahasiswa yang saya hormati. So this morning, I would just share with you some of the way economists would look at the issues of blue economy, and then what are the challenges ahead of us if we are thinking of implementing that. And we will see how could we look into Riau Island as an example, and then also share some lesson from the terrestrial world. There are some approaches that may be relevant to it. I have about 20 slides, but I think I'll run through some of them. Let's try. Okay, so okay, those are the outline of the presentations. Basically, we'll touch a little bit on a few things, and then end with the lesson from the terrestrial sector. Simple objective of this presentation, again, as I said, this is just to provide some highlights, and then we can continue with discussion if the time allows. So, Pak Moderator, please remind me when the time is 5 minutes remaining. Yeah, some perspective on blue economy. This is not to lecture you on the definition, but just as a reminder, and this is the part that I will just run through some of the slides. This is what Gunther Pauli said 12 years ago, or maybe he repeated it here last year, because I believe he was here last year for the MACIFIC for the first. So he said that in his book, he said that the key principles for blue economy are efficiency of resource utilization, zero waste, social inclusions and equity, job opportunities for the poor, innovations, adaptations, and then also the economic multiplier effect. So some of those are pretty much economic terminologies that I'm sure you are familiar with. So this is what I say, the essence of blue economy, to put it briefly from economics perspective. Blue economy is about anything that influences, first of all, the value of the marine resources, its products, its ecosystem. The second is that whatever influence its sustainability. And thirdly, whatever influence the welfare of the stakeholders who are living on it. So, very simple. So it's about values, it's about sustainability, it's about the welfare effect of it, the economic benefits of it. Then, these are potential scopes. There are about 12, I think, 11 or 12, or yeah, about 12 items there. These are areas in which you can do anything in that area, and you are basically doing anything, something related to blue economy. Just like what Professor from the Hiroshima just told us, the oyster culture is part of the blue economy activity because it brings benefits to people, and it also imposes some cost on the people and perhaps on the nature itself. So these are to simplify things. I would like you to always remember this, especially the folks in Umrah here. Jangan pernah lupa bahwa blue economy itu ada dalam banyak kitab suci, terutama Al-Quran. So in Al-Quran, it is explicitly said it is about the benefits of the sea. There is this verse, and the one underneath is about about sustainability economics in more general terms. So the Holy Book has outlined how can you benefit from the sea and how it can be sustained forever. If the key is to hold the balance. Balance meaning ensure the equilibrium of the nature and ensure also the equity for the people. Is blue economy different from green economy? This is again a very common question because at the early stage of blue economy concept development, there are some unfortunate bias, I would say. Some people like to say that blue economy is better than green economy. I think as an academician, we should get rid of that kind of debate. Just look at what are the essence of the economy, what are the essence of it. So don't get bogged in the idea of this kind of controversy. As long as it talks about welfare, as long as it talks about sustainability, and as long as it talks about inclusivity, then you are basically talking the same thing. Those are components you need to look at from the economics perspective, from the welfare effect. You should see if the nature brings you non-declining welfare, that means economically it would have been sustainable. And secondly, on the sustainability aspect, you should look into whether the resources is being used efficiently and whether the ecosystem is being managed in non-degradative way, I would say. And then the third one is that there should be a room for social enhancements as well as individual level enrichment on this aspect of inclusivity. So we should maintain and enhance individual productivity and social productivity in order to be able to sustain the blue economy or green economy. So as long as those things are in the concept, then there is no difference between blue economy and green economy. Of course, blue is more related to marine ecosystem. Next is okay. Let's look at the national policy context. Let's look at the context and the recent policy directives on this. Everybody knows this. I guess all of you from the Umrah should always remember this about the coastline, about the many people, the many fishing villages, whatever relevant in terms of what is there related to the marine ecosystem and resources. So this is the natural context in which blue economy will be operating in Indonesia. Oh. Okay. The second, I would like to remind you that there is amanah itu apa ya? How do you translate amanah, Pak Indra? There is a trust in you, basically, from the constitutions and then from the independence movement that the sea of Indonesia should be sustained for the benefit of our people. So it's quite explicit there. So this is the Indonesia Raya version. You should sing as a national anthem. So if any of the Umrah students cannot sing this song in full 3 stanza, that maybe you should think yourself not to be part of the Umrah, Universitas Maritim Raja Ali Haji. It signifies your role to promote the maritime nation, maritime economy, to guard the sea and its sustainability for the benefit of us all. So again, this is about the context. And this is the context of SDG. The t-shirts you are wearing is talk about SDG. What does it say? I support SDGs, right? So these are the SDGs, and it's been officially adopted legally into Indonesia's policy system through this presidential decree. And then, interestingly, the presidential decree explicitly classify or group the 17 SDGs into 4. The first one is the social development, not economic development. Secondly is the economic, and thirdly is the ecosystem maintenance. And fourthly, this is SDG 17, dedicated as a group of its own in Indonesia's adoption. So it's talk about the partnership and governance. That means if you're talking about blue economy, if you're talking about SDG, partnership is key. Good governance is key. So anything sold in the name of SDGs without proper governance cannot be acceptable. Anything sold in the name of SDG without partnership is not acceptable. So it has a lot of implication in the policy system. And please don't forget the red box on top, which is the objectives of why NKRI was established. Ya, mencerdaskan kehidupan bangsa, memajukan kesejahteraan umum, melindungi segenap tumpah darah Indonesia. Ya. So there is something, it has a lot of meaning in the marine environment context and also in blue economic context. Okay, this is another, the current policy framework. I mentioned this because of this, there is a date and there is this General Policy Directive issued last November. So you should look into that in more detail. There is you can download this from Bappenas website. This was released in November last year. So what it says is that in this context of economic transformations, there are 6 major strategies. And then the strategy number 3 there, you could see that Indonesia is very much committed now to green economy. And then under the green economy, blue economy is one of them. This is not to say the terminology of green economy is more superior. This is just what it is now in the language of policy. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. So underneath the green economy, there is this low carbon development, there is this blue economy, there is energy transition, and there is a circular economy. So those are 4 things that is meant by green economy in our context now. So blue economy occupies special place, very big. And if you look at the challenge, let's start from this. From the age of kindergarten, we were told that that Indonesia is a maritime nation. Maybe Pak Indra very much agree or very disagree with it. Indonesia is a maritime nation, and that our ancestors are seafarers. Really? I would challenge you to mention 3 fishing villages from Sabang to Merauke, if you can name them. Is there any prosperous fishing village in Indonesia? If you rank all the villages by their poverty level in Indonesia, where are those fishing villages stand? Is there any proof that maritime resources have ever brought prosperity to Indonesia's people at large? Not 3 types of people in the fishing villages who are juragan kapal, the owner of the ship, juragan ikan asin, the traders of the saltfish, right? And in the Kepri context, maybe the bajak laut. the pirates. Those are three prosperous people in the fishing villages, in our fishing villages. Other than that, most people are poor. So if we claim Sriwijaya and Majapahit once occupied this big area, did they bring home prosperity? Look at it from different angle. Look at it what British mean when they said British rules the waves. They bring home prosperity, regardless legitimately or not. Yeah. But that is the fact. But we have not had that type of proof for our nation. That's my challenge to you, the students of the Umrah. Then if you look at it, what are the relevant questions that we need to answer in trying to define our way toward building blue economy? So if you are learning resource economics, among the first thing you learn is about the property rights. So that's why I put it here in a big way. Who has access, control, and influences over marine resources? If you are a citizen of Capri, do you think you are the only one who control, who influence, and have access to the marine resources here? The Singaporeans who plays in the area, do the business, who do a lot of business in the area, do the financiers who have the influence over the companies in the area, are they all influencing our resources? Those are the type of questions. And then, how are we allocating our marine resources and use? How are the benefits being distributed to all types of stakeholders group? And how marine area are managed? Are the property rights non-attenuated? Non-attenuated property right, which is a very strong concept in the economics of natural resources. Non-attenuated is a double negative word. That means property right yang tidak terganggu. So double negative words means it's underlined the importance of it.
5 more minutes.
Five more. Okay, so we'll be done. So those are the main question related to the property right. And then the second layer we need to look at is what are the current major sectors in the area of marine utilization. We know fisheries are there, we know tourism are there, we know some ecosystem services are there, but do we know if the blue carbon and the blue energy are there as part of these economic activities? Probably not yet. And on the right hand side you see there are many sectors that are influencing the marine ecosystem. So the shipping and transportation, for instance, are the major sectors here. So if we are talking about blue economy, do we have a clear vision? What does it mean? How would you describe that vision in terms of economic indicators? What are the level of welfare? What are the primary source of welfare? Who make decision about those? Where are our legislators in the world of blue economy? Who implements the decisions? How national and subnational authorities and stakeholders should interact? What kind of sciences are needed? And how do we align behavioral determinants toward blue economy objectives? These are questions that needs to be answered when defining the way forward. Okay, let me run quickly through it. The Riau Islands, is it a baby cradle? Is it a baby giant in the cradle of blue economy? The answer is up to you. This is Umrah. You are at the center of the game. So this is your future if you think blue economy is something for you. So this is the Riau Islands map. before getting this map, when I look at in Google, I always find this truncated map. They put the Natuna inside the other box because it's too far north. That type of map is very disturbing. It disturbs, it distorts your way of looking at space. So that's why I'm using this map to show you what's the percentage of the land. How are we looking at the relevance of sea to the lives of the people in Riau Island? So here are, on the right hand side, you will see a bunch of questions and indicators that if you answer that, you will have a good idea about what does it mean to have, what is the current portrait of blue economy in the Riau Island province. Unless you have those answers, you cannot, well, unless you have that answer, your descriptions about blue economy in Riau Islands will not be complete. Even this may not be complete. So if you've done this, you will come to more questions about what else can be explained, what else are related to blue economy in the life of the people of Riau Island. So these are economic questions that you need to answer in building that type of understanding. And here is the complications of the challenge. You know that Riau Island is a large part of it is part of the fisheries management area 711, which is adjacent to the west. Selat Malacca, the Malacca Strait, all of them are fishery management area 571, and to your right hand side is the 712, which is the Java Sea. And see how the connectedness of these three fisheries management areas. And along the history, we have learned that you are at the center of all these issues: economics, trading, politics, war, everything in the area. So everything passed through your region. So unless you are able to see it within yourself and within this context of three major areas of productions, if you like, or political arenas, or whatever, then you will only have a good grasp on all this information. You'll be able to let me quickly run the last. Yeah. So if you're talking about how do we approach how should we think about implementing blue economy, especially in this area? So there is there is a jurisdictional approach to implementing sustainable development. It has been tried in many places on terrestrial landscape, but not yet in the marine-based places, as far as I know. So there are different approaches to resource management and governance. We should see it should be science-based. Government keep talking about it, but very far from basing the policy on science at the moment. So local stakeholdership is key. There should be a consistent directives from the center. We should know how to localize costs and benefits. We should be able to also respecting the rights, wisdom, and knowledge system of the locals. Then the other dimension of it is using the seascape approach. It is interesting that this type of approach is actually our willingness to recognize. There are other stakeholders in the area. So resources have different values to different stakeholders. If we accept that principle, then there will be room for negotiation. If we deny anybody's right, then we are basically at the end of the road.
Last minute.
Yep. Okay. Then application of system thinking may be relevant because we will be building and relating to a lot of type of stakeholders. And then because of that, decision taking from the perspective of the science and the perspective of the bureaucracy will be very good. How do we start? How do we start? So first of all, answer the questions before about how do you see blue economy in your context, and then use them in the process of scenario planning to build a vision. If you run a multi-stakeholders based scenario planning, you will come with a lot of good things that will give you ammunition to create a more workable plan in terms of development planning, and also later on continue with the budget. So here is my last slide. Basically, the lesson says that first of all, use this jurisdictional approach, and secondly, seek for leaders' commitment. Leaders' commitment is important to lead a large-scale change process, because blue economy is not business as usual. If we are thinking blue economy as the way we are thinking about it now, sectorally, then we are not moving into the blue economy. Leadership is important to bring in necessary supporters, to bring in necessary stakeholders and partners, and also to ensure there is a space for dialogue for people who are interested in the issue. Then building discourse coalition is the work of people on the campus, I suppose. The university is key in building the knowledge, and then building a coalition that will promote the knowledge and idealism for the one. As I say, discourse coalition is a seed for building a multi-stakeholders platform. And then partnership, that really should be embedded in your heart and action. So without the idea, without willingness to genuinely partner with other players, and we will continue as what we are having right now. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Mubarik, for your interesting presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, participants of the MACIFIC 2022, now we are having the discussion session. So for the participants who has question to our speakers, please raise your hand. So I see 4, 5, many questions actually. Okay, so I think first we give the opportunity for the students. So I would like to invite the one who wears batik. Yeah, please stand up and please move on to the mic in front of you.
Tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Ramadoni. I'm from Maritime Raja Ali Haji University, Faculty Engineering, majoring in Informatic Engineering. First, I want to thank you for the opportunity that the moderator, Professor Yamamoto, and Dr. Mubarik Ahmad has given to me. In this occasion, I would like to say that I'm very interested in discussing the calm of the oyster, the first presentation from Professor Yamamoto. So previously, I had read several articles and news about oyster, where in Indonesia, there were already oyster cultivating, but it went viral some time ago that the breeding place didn't apply strict rules. So here, I want to ask two things. The first one is whether there is a need for a very special cultivation, and it is quite difficult to cultivate oyster considering that eating raw oyster is quite dangerous. The second one is whether the research that the professor did to improve the development of this oyster can also be applied in Indonesian. That's my question. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you for the first question. Now I invite from the right side. Okay, please. The black shirt. Yes, please move to the yes.
Test. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Fio Simbolol. I'm doing international relation from Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, Rajali Haji Maritime University. So I will go directly to Dr. Mubarak, the second speaker. Different from the previous question, I am from my educational background is from politics, so it will be my question will be also related to politics. As we know that the improvement also related to sustainable development goals that raised by the United Nations. It is a complex goals, and it is expected, especially they stress the partnership point, and also there is a must for all stakeholders group to act together. But I believe that there is many challenges that being faced by all the stakeholders group, and as that Dr. Mubarak said that Umrah is we have. It's like we are in the laboratorium. The characteristic in our region, it is opportunity for us to develop, especially for blue economy. So my question is, what are the biggest, or what is the biggest challenge when all the stakeholders group come together to address marine ecosystem related problems? So the point is not about the norm that we act together, but when all the stakeholders, the government, university, and all related stakeholders, when they come together, what are the biggest challenges, like a concrete problems that being faced even until today or even in the past? Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for the last question, I would like to invite to give question. Over there. So first, I will invite the yes. Sorry, maybe later at the second session.
Thank you. Salam. I don't have questions for Professor Yamamoto because I know very well oyster is good for sex. Is that right? Okay. And I think students should know this very well because the future is just nearby for sex. And for Dr. Mubarak, one thing that is you mentioned about the Brits. The British rules the wave, and they control half of the globe. They are not rules the wave. They are waiving the rules. That is a thing that is hidden in words. And you also mentioned about this job opportunity for the poor. What does it mean, poor? Is it nutritional poor, a poverty in food, or poverty in literacy? Please explain. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So for the first session, we have 3 questions. So the first participant asked to Professor Yamamoto about, is it dangerous for the oysters if we eat raw? That's the first question, if I'm not mistaken. And the second one, is it possible to apply the fertilizer in the oyster cultivation in Indonesia? So please, Professor Yamamoto.
So thank you very much the question to me. So the first one, the dangers when you eat oyster, raw oyster. So it depends on the season. In the case in Japan, so in May, June, and that month, a phytoplankton species containing toxic substances growing. So the oyster fed on such toxic phytoplankton. Then when you eat the oyster, raw oyster, it is a little bit dangerous. But they depend on the amount you eat. So for example, the meat, fresh meat, for example, the amount of big amount of bowl you eat, all of them. So that would be critical. But the 1 or 2, probably it's okay. Second one?
Is it possible to apply the fertilizer?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, you can apply fertilizer if the condition of your area is very oligotrophic. But I'm not sure if the phytoplankton abundance is sufficient for the growth of oyster, you don't need to apply fertilizer. Okay. And the important is, as I mentioned, the fermentation. Complete fermentation is very important. If the fertilizer containing the noxious, microorganisms, you have to remove them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Yamamoto, for answering the question. And then for the second and the third question goes to Dr. Mubarik. The first one, what's the biggest challenge to the stakeholders in managing this blue economy? And the second one, what kind of poor that we have in this our coastal area?
Ya, thank you. Ya, terima kasih buat teman mahasiswa dan Pak Profesor Indra yang sudah memberikan pertanyaan. The first question is really big. If the stakeholders groups are coming together, what are the first problem? What are the main problem? As I see it, the main problem is defining the problem itself. Why? Because there has been no systematic dialogue process that try to share our common concern on this issue. Let's take Capri, for instance. If you identified 5 or 6 stakeholders group, have anyone study in details what are the meaning of the being part of the Riau Island citizen to those stakeholders group? What does it mean? This first of all. And secondly, have we had enough information about what is it there? What is available? What is going on in the area of the sea in the Riau province territory? Of course, we know small-scale fisheries. Of course, we know big-scale fisheries. Of course, we know tourism. Of course, we know. But how much do we know? And who are the stakeholders? And unless there is this systematic studies, and that is done systematically and independently, this is where the campus role very crucial in my view. So this independent and supposedly scientifically based and neutral study, these studies can be put together before the stakeholders group meeting. And the term we use for this type of process is joint portrait reading. Let's read our portrait together across stakeholders. Bahasa Indonesianya itu rada jelek. Mari berkaca bareng. Apa artinya ngaca bareng? What does it mean if we are saying, let's take a hard look in the mirror together. Together. And that will show us ourselves in the mirror and other peoples in the mirror, other stakeholders in the mirror. And each of us will be able to share our perspective and concern. So because of that, we are able to understand each other, and we will be able to open a room for negotiation, for dialogue, basically. Put aside the negotiation, but at least to know that there are other perspectives looking at the same resources from different sides. So this process, taking a hard look in the mirror, also shows us what are good about ourselves, individually and together. And what are the scars that is on our faces, individually and together, as a collective society. And unless we are willing to look at that together, we will not be able to define our common problem and futures. And it is the power of this process of multi-stakeholders, building a common understanding by sharing a session of taking a hard look in the mirror together. And there you will see people fighting each other, because the government people would not like to hear some NGOs criticizing the policy. Some NGOs would not like the way community look at them. The campus people would not like to see that their leaderships are being undermined, because some people think that may not be relevant. And the komunitas adat, the IP's community, will not like all the policies because they cannot see themselves in the policy. Where are they being placed? Are they being counted as stakeholders? So there is a very crucial first step in making an overall change when you are starting a big initiative. In my view, building a blue economy as a system is a big initiative. It's a big change initiative. And only government can host the process, and all of us should own it. All stakeholders should own it. And the way you own it, the way you're sharing the ownership of the program and the process is by coming together, bringing your own honest opinion and share it with us. There will be inconvenient fights, but there is a step that we need to pass through. So unless that is taking place, we will not be able to define our common problem and agree with it. Yeah. So otherwise, if it is not happening, then some people may state a problem which other people would not agree with it. So because that will define the priority for moving forward. That's my generic answer to that. But by the way, this portrait reading, joint portrait reading is the first, the background studies and the joint portrait reading are the two first steps in the process of scenario planning that I mentioned. We can talk about it in some other time in more detail. And when it comes to the second question, who are the poor? I like this question a lot, Pak. Why this is a very important issue in economic development theory and policy. The way government define who are the poor are by looking at the statistics done by BPS, right? First of all is the income level, secondly is by consumption level, and thirdly by some calorie intakes. There are some, and another measure will be spending by the day, per day. Those are measures that are currently on the table, yes. But the question is whether that reflects the true income of the people. Most of the time it is not. I can show you many examples from our studies that usually local incomes of the people are not fully reflected in the measure of government GDP or regional income. Why? Because the more local you go, the more components of the consumption you are taking directly from nature. You are consuming it not through market, not by purchasing it in the market. So people are producing for themselves, and most of the time it's not counted in the GDP. So when you are not counting that part of the income, you will misrepresent the people's level of income, and people who are actually sufficiently prosperous, but because they are consuming in real term, by statistic they are seen as poor. So where does it go policy-wise? If there is a group of people seen as poor, then the government would come happily say, oh guys, you are poor, let's build a program for you. Let's build a program for you. So we want you to be more prosperous. And how? By bringing in investor. Why investor? The investor is important with all that speech part. Investment is important to build job opportunities, to build income, to generate tax, to generate even local revenues, and to generate the foreign exchange revenue. Well, if you are an economist looking at those statistics, honestly, you will see 80% of that are myth, I would say. Because we have been through that process a lot. And this bias actually leads to overtaking of people's resources. This happens a lot in the terrestrial, in the landscape context. People who are people who are being seen as poor, the way government helps is by bringing in investor. And what does investor want? First of all, they want land. So transformation in government current policy since our independence tends to mean transforming the owners of the resources to become the workers of the company. And the way governments show poverty reduction is by showing the change in the level of income of the locals, but not by tracing studies. There is no study that shows that the actual poor people, people who used to be poor are now becoming rich because of the development. There is no such tracing studies in Indonesia. So the term I put it, that was from Guntur Oli, not from me. So I put it there on purpose, among others, to generate this kind of discussion. So people have some more critical way of looking into this. So the way we look at it is, let's look at these situations critically. So critical analysis is important. And then when putting things together, let's use two additional approach, which is system thinking in public policy design, and also what people call technically design thinking process. So yeah, this is why I said I like the question. I can go forever about it. A lot of proof I can show you, but it is a very crucial steps in defining the portrait of the development and how we should go about it. That's why the multi-stakeholders process is important.
Okay, just a short comment, if you may. Yeah. Oh, do you still have comments? Okay, clear. Okay, thanks very much, Pak Mubarik and Professor Yamamoto, for giving the answers to the questions from the participants. Unfortunately, we are limited by time. I see we still have many questions from the participants, but I think I will give, is it possible to give your email address to the participants? So for the participants, if you still have questions to Professor Yamamoto and Dr. Mubarik, please kindly send your question to their email address, because actually our time is already over now. So, thank you very much. I'm not going to give a summary of this morning session because I think it's already clear, the explanation from Professor Yamamoto and Dr. Mubarik. And for the last, let's give a huge round of applause for our speakers this morning. All right, thank you very much and see you later. Back to the master of ceremony. Okay, last.
Sorry, let me say one sentence. My organization, Conservation Strategy Fund, we work on the marine program from economics and governance point of view. So those of you who have questions and would like to discuss more on this issue, feel free to contact me. You can get my email address later from the committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, MC.
Check. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give applause for our invited speaker and our moderator today. For the moderator and the invited speaker, we kindly ask to stay on the stage. All right. To stay on the stage because we kindly invited the Dean of Faculty Economy, Ma'am Dr. Haji Asmaul Husna, to give in the souvenir for the invited speaker today. All right, please give a round of applause again for our keynote, our invited speaker and our moderator today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the next session with our keynote speaker today from Directorate General of Capture Fisheries from Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries. And this section will be moderated by Ma'am Dr. Insinyur Tengku Ersti Yulikasari from the Dean of Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Science. We invite ma'am, please.
Oke, selamat pagi Bapak Ibu. May I use bahasa in this session because I'm accidentally a moderator today. Oke. Sebelum kita memanggil narasumber kita yang berikutnya, ada baiknya tak kenal maka tak sayang. Setelah sayang kita mau ngapain ya Pak? Baik. Pembicara kita yang berikutnya, beliau adalah salah satu pejabat yang saat ini sering dicari karena ada beberapa kebijakan yang menyangkut beliau, dan salah satu statementnya beliau di salah satu webinarnya kita, itu dirjen yang nggak bakalan dicari kalau hilang gitu ya Pak ya. Nah, baik, beliau adalah Dr. Insinyur Muhammad Zaini MM. Ini lahirnya di Sampang, 14 Agustus, udah lewat, seharusnya MACIFIC itu tanggal 14. Jadi kita bisa rayain ulang tahunnya bareng-bareng. Nah, beliau adalah saat ini menjabat sebagai Dirjen Perikanan Tangkap di Kementerian Kelautan Perikanan. S1 beliau itu adalah di Institut Pertanian Bogor. Kemudian untuk pendidikan terakhir itu beliau tamatkan di Unpad. Ya Pak? Baik, kayaknya tidak usah berlama-lama. Kita ingin mendengarkan dulu nih pemaparan dari Pak Zaini. Saya juga sebenarnya mencari-cari beliau, bersyukur hari ini saya ketemu. Kayaknya kita bisa lanjutkan berantemnya kita di sini. Baik, kepada Pak Zaini, waktu dan tempat kami persilakan. Mungkin panitia bisa membantu untuk PowerPoint. Bapak mau sambil berdiri atau duduk, Pak? Hah? Oh ya, biar strong, Pak.
Minta tolong PowerPoint-nya ya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera buat kita semua. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. Pertama, kita panjatkan puji dan syukur kehadirat Allah Subhanahu wa taala, Tuhan yang Maha Esa, yang telah memberikan nikmat kepada kita, terutama nikmat kesehatan, sehingga pada hari ini kita bersama-sama di tempat ini dalam rangka mendiskusikan pengembangan perikanan dan kelautan ke depan. Kedua, sampaikan permohonan maaf dari Bapak Menteri Kelautan dan Perikanan yang seharusnya beliau hadir di tempat ini dan sudah diniatkan untuk hadir sebenarnya, namun karena ada acara mendadak yang tidak bisa beliau wakilkan, sehingga beliau mewakilkan kepada saya untuk bersama-sama Bapak Ibu sekalian pada pagi hari ini. Bapak Ibu sekalian saya hormati, pada pagi hari ini saya diminta untuk memaparkan tentang implementasi ekonomi biru di Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan. Implementasi ekonomi biru ini merupakan mandat dari Undang-Undang Dasar 1945, khususnya pasal 33, di mana mandatnya adalah untuk melakukan pengelolaan sumber daya ikan atau sumber daya alam yang dimiliki Indonesia, yang diberikan kuasa kepada negara untuk dimanfaatkan sebesar-besarnya untuk kesejahteraan masyarakat kita. Oleh karenanya, negara berkewajiban untuk melakukan pengelolaan sumber daya alam tersebut agar tetap sustain dan juga memberikan manfaat ekonomi kepada seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Itu adalah mandat yang harus dijalankan oleh pemerintah, yang merupakan implementasi dari Undang-Undang 1945. Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, kita tahu bahwa Indonesia adalah negara maritim, yang 2/3-nya itu adalah luasan lautan yang potensinya sangat besar. Oleh karenanya, Bapak Ibu sekalian, kalau kita tidak mampu mengelola lautan ini, maka kita akan mengalami kerugian. Karena potensi ekonomi yang ada di lautan ini itu adalah sangat luas. Oleh karenanya Bapak Ibu sekalian, 2/3 itu adalah merupakan luas lautan, belum termasuk juga laut lepas yang juga kita mempunyai kewenangan, diberikan juga mandat oleh dunia internasional untuk bisa memanfaatkan potensi yang ada di dalam wilayah laut lepas tadi. Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, penguasaan laut yang kita lakukan sampai hari ini itu baru sebagian kecil yang bisa kita manfaatkan, terutama berkaitan dengan potensi kelautan. Yang kita garap masih lebih besar terhadap potensi di bidang perikanan. Sedangkan di bidang kelautan ini masih belum banyak digarap, termasuk juga pemanfaatan sumber-sumber energi terbarukan yang bisa kita ambil dari potensi laut kita. Bapak Ibu sekalian saya hormati, tantangan yang dihadapi, ini nggak bisa masuk ya? Oh sudah. Tantangan yang kita hadapi dalam pengelolaan ekonomi biru di sektor kelautan dan perikanan ini bukan hanya sedikit, tapi banyak, terutama yang berkaitan dengan semakin terdegradasinya keragaman biota laut karena adanya aktivitas yang tidak ramah lingkungan. Padahal kita semua wajib mengelola sumber daya yang kita miliki ini agar tetap sustain. Bahkan jauh-jauh hari dalam Islam sudah mengingatkan bahwa kerusakan itu akan nampak baik di darat maupun di laut, dan dampaknya akan dirasakan oleh kita sendiri, baik yang melakukan kerusakan ataupun orang yang tidak melakukan kerusakan, semuanya akan mendapat dampak dari itu. Tapi kita tidak pernah menyadari, sehingga makin hari makin degradasi terhadap sumber daya ikan kita, termasuk juga keanekaragaman hayati yang kita miliki. Karena keanekaragaman hayati kita yang berada di daerah Katulistiwa merupakan yang terkaya keanekaragaman hayatinya di dunia ini. Tetapi karena kita tidak bisa memelihara dan memanfaatkan dengan baik, sehingga lambat laun keanekaragaman hayati tersebut terus mengalami kemerosotan, sehingga nanti anak cucu kita juga tidak akan merasakan hal-hal yang seperti yang kita rasakan pada hari ini. Kemudian tantangan lain adalah semakin besarnya kebutuhan pangan, terutama protein, untuk mencukupi kebutuhan manusia di dunia ini. Pertumbuhan populasi telah memaksa kita untuk mencari sumber-sumber protein, terutama protein yang mempunyai kualitas tinggi, yang tidak lain itu sumbernya adalah dari laut. Kemudian pertambahan penduduk juga memaksa kita untuk meningkatkan, melipat gandakan jumlah protein atau pangan yang bisa dikonsumsi oleh masyarakat dunia. Nah, kedua hal ini seringkali menyebabkan bahwa kita akan mengeksploitasi sumber daya sebesar-besarnya tanpa mengindahkan kaidah-kaidah ekosistem yang baik. Nah, oleh karenanya Bapak Ibu sekalian, ke depan Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan tentu akan merubah pola ini agar pengelolaan sumber daya ikan yang kita miliki tetap sustain, baik dari segi ekosistem maupun manfaat ekonomi, sehingga keduanya bisa berjalan beriringan, kemudian bisa memberikan manfaat yang sebaik-baiknya, serta bisa dinikmati sampai anak cucu kita nanti. Oleh karenanya Bapak Ibu sekalian, untuk menghadapi hal tersebut, Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan telah membuat beberapa program utama, yaitu yang pertama adalah kita akan memperluas wilayah konservasi yang targetnya itu adalah 30% dari luas laut NKRI. Konservasi ini banyak kriterianya. Yang pertama adalah tentu yang berkaitan dengan sumber daya ikan, yaitu daerah spawning ground dan daerah pemijahan atau daerah-daerah pemeliharaan ikan-ikan kecil. Yang sebenarnya spawning ground ini bukan hanya satu wilayah, tapi semua laut kita itu harusnya menjadi daerah-daerah spawning ground. Oleh karenanya para ahli mengatakan sebenarnya 1 sampai 4 mil itu adalah di seluruh perairan kita itu adalah seharusnya menjadi daerah-daerah spawning ground dan tempat pengasuhan anak-anak ikan. Tetapi kenyataannya kita belum mampu untuk mengalihkan nelayan-nelayan kecil kita yang berada di zona 1 sampai 4 mil, di mana zona ini seharusnya disterilkan dari daerah penangkapan. Sehingga inilah yang menyebabkan salah satu kerusakan yang ada di pantai-pantai kita. Kemudian masih berbicara tentang daerah konservasi ini, tentu kita juga bukan hanya memperlihatkan atau hanya mementingkan tentang ikannya, tetapi ekologinya juga harus kita pelihara, yaitu daerah-daerah padang lamun, daerah-daerah coral reef dan sebagainya harus kita pelihara. Oleh karenanya di daerah-daerah yang terdapat ekosistem padang lamun dan juga coral reef ini juga harus kita pelihara, bukan hanya kepentingan perikanan, tapi justru ini adalah kepentingan yang lebih besar lagi, terutama dalam memelihara iklim global. Karena kedua, ekosistem ini menghasilkan oksigen yang sangat besar dan juga menyerap karbon juga yang sangat besar. Sehingga inilah yang akan memelihara kita untuk mengurangi dampak bencana yang akan kita hadapi, dan apabila ini tidak kita lakukan dengan baik, maka dahsyat akibat yang akan ditimbulkan oleh ketidakbecusan kita dalam mengelola ekosistem laut ini. Bapak Ibu sekalian yang saya hormati, laut ini tetap kita potensinya tidak bisa ditingkatkan sedemikian rupa. Relatif tetap bisa dipelihara tapi sulit untuk ditingkatkan. Walaupun bisa, itu sangat lambat dan memerlukan biaya yang sangat tinggi. Oleh karenanya penangkapan di laut ke depan harus kita kurangi. Bahkan kalau perlu mulai tahun ini kita harus mengalihkan kepada kegiatan-kegiatan lain untuk mencukupi protein hewani khususnya dari ikan ini. Oleh karenanya Kementerian Kelautan ini juga sudah membuat program-program bagaimana kita meningkatkan budidaya agar penangkapan di laut bisa berkurang, kemudian kegiatan-kegiatan budidaya bisa ditingkatkan. Tentu yang akan kita lakukan adalah budidaya yang ramah lingkungan, bukan budidaya yang merusak lingkungan atau ekosistem pesisir. Bapak Ibu sekalian, di sisi lain, dengan semakin bertambahnya umat manusia, khususnya di Indonesia, dan belum terdidiknya masyarakat kita dalam hal pengelolaan sampah, maka laut ini menjadi keranjang sampah, tempat yang paling murah untuk membuang sampah. Tapi akibatnya apa? Ekosistem kita di pantai semakin hari semakin rusak, semakin hari semakin penuh dengan sampah. Dan ini selain secara estetika tidak menguntungkan, tapi juga secara ekosistem akan merusak ekosistem-ekosistem yang ada di pesisir kita, terutama dalam hal padang lamun dan juga terhadap coral reef, termasuk juga perikanan-perikanan kita di pantai, yang akibatnya sekarang sudah dirasakan oleh para nelayan-nelayan kita, di mana